Now, don't we all just love close India-Pakistan games? I do, but I love them even more once they finish in my team's favour. India is my team and it finished in India's favours. India's fans would be very, very happy, but this was such a good game. India won the toss, put Pakistan into bat first. Mohammad Rizwan scored those 43 runs, but the innings never got going really, courtesy of some very special bowling from Bhuvneshwar Kumar, Hardik Pandya and Arshdeep Singh, restricting Pakistan to just 147 in inside 20 overs. India came out to bat and Pakistan's pacers dished out similar treatment. India's batter's life wasn't easy out there, not even for a single minute. But when you've got that man, Hardik Pandya, standing out there, he is the OG finisher. India winning by 5 wickets towards the end. But if anyone tells you that they knew, India was going to win, do two things. Either don't trust them at all or ask them to foretell your future as well, because they certainly know something that you don't. My name is Tanay Tiwari. Welcome to Cricbuzz Live. I've got joining with me Mr. Bhattacharjya, Mr. Parthiv Patel. Welcome, gentlemen. Yep. And is it correct to say that Hardik today has said ki finisher main hu, naam idhar hai?
No, he did. I think he showed tremendous confidence, didn't he? But we saw that dot ball just before he hit that 6. You could see that he's I think he told Dinesh Karthik that in sign language that I've got it covered, don't worry. And that's the confidence he carries. That's something which it's been a hallmark of his career throughout it. That confidence which he carries along. I played with him in Mumbai Indians. That's something which always stands out in Hardik Pandya. And today also finishing of the game where everyone, I mean from both the sides, the set batters were struggling to get their strike rate above 120, and here Hardik Pandya comes up and plays 33 of 17 balls. It's almost a 200 of strike rate, and under pressure against Pakistan, where there's so much of hype, and there's always people talking about taking a revenge of the World Cup game and all of that. But here, he comes in, shows his calmness and maturity. That's something which we've been talking about since IPL, and here again he showed it.
Correct. Joy, now, of course, it's the big stage, and Hardik Pandya loves the big stage. We've heard him say that. But he's always had the skill. Everyone knows that. But what Parthiv said there, the kind of temperament, the kind of character that he's shown ever since that IPL, he's been amazing. This finishing job is right up there. It's top shelf.
I'm telling you, what is going to go everywhere by tomorrow or by tonight, I have to say, is that meme. Relax, I've got it.
Yeah.
I mean, that was just so much confidence. And the best part is they cut immediately to, Rohit Sharma. Yeah. And he has this rueful finals place that, this guy just knows what he's doing.
Correct.
That was so symbolic of what this match was about. Actually, if you look at it, you look at just his bowling, and you can make a case for him being India's best bowler, even over Bhuvi, because he got the crucial wickets at the right time. Okay, you look at his batting, you can make a case for definitely his being the batter that changed the game. So, I mean, he could literally win 2 man of the matches, for either batting or bowling. I mean, literally like that. I mean, today, he was by far the star performer for India.
Yes, absolutely. And that's such an interesting thing. I mean, he's no more just a batting all-rounder or a bowling all-rounder. He is a true blue all-rounder.
He is. I mean, that's something which, we spoke about in mid-show as well. I said, when someone can claim his place in the side or definitely on either of the skill, either a batsman or a bowler. And that's exactly what he's been doing. And I'm just impressed with the versatility which is showing. In IPL, we saw him batting at 3, 4, taking the responsibility. And if you've not played at that particular number which he's been batting right now at 5, 6 and finish off the game, it's not easy. And you obviously have that confidence with you. I mean, there's so much, a big thing. I think I always say it's a cliche word saying belief.
Yeah.
That self-belief which he carries around, that that aura which we've been talking about with Hardik Pandya has on the ground, that I've got it covered. Even while bowling, you always see that he's telling fielders that look at me, I know what I'm doing, and I'll keep my fielders where I want. And that's exactly what he's doing. He knows what's happening with his own game, and he feels that he's always in control, and that you can see it right now with that, again, that sign thing that yes, I've got it covered.
That is so true. That is actually true, because as a viewer, every time you watch Hardik Pandya now, this version of Hardik Pandya, he's right. I mean, belief is a cliched word, but cliches exist for a reason. You can actually see that belief. Today, even on that penultimate ball, when he played that dot ball, you could see there were some disturbances. Of course, Dinesh Karthik was a little restless at the other end, and he just looked at Dinesh Karthik.
He's always restless. So
exactly. If Dinesh Karthik can sit still for 5 seconds, then there's something
that
wrong.
means that he's in control. If he's restless, that means he's in control.
Correct. Yeah, absolutely. But the kind of control that Hardik Pandya showed, he just looked at DK and said, it's okay, bro, I got it. And the next ball, he just plastered that one for a 6, and his maturity is for the world to see. But another guy who was as important a pillar in India's chase was Ravindra Jadeja, because the number that he came in, he was promoted, of course, and what that did was, tactically, it disallowed Babar from bowling any more of Mohammad Nawaz. So Mohammad Nawaz, who picked Virat Kohli and Rohit Sharma's wickets, could not bowl throughout that middle phase, Parthiv.
I think that was a very good decision tactically by Indian team. They know they've got only one left-hand batsman in their lineup, and they had to use him very tactically, because they know both the leg spinner, their leg spinner and left-arm spinner. And Jadeja played with the right attitude as well. He saw Virat Kohli getting out and Rohit Sharma getting out, but he backed himself to hit those sixes. Usually when you see Rohit Sharma and Virat Kohli both getting out, you try and see off a left-arm spinner's over, but he did not. He took his chances, and that's what this team has always been talking about. That approach, that attitude which they are talking about. If you feel that you can take a particular bowler, you go out there and back your skill. That's exactly what this Indian team management is trying to do, and that's what Jadeja also did. Hit 6 and a boundary, and just came out to a 20th over. And anyway, 6 of 7 in last over. Lefty righty, India was anyway going to do it.
And Joy, that speaks volumes to the evolution of Jadeja, the batter. I mean, we'd always known that he was a batter and he was an all-rounder who could bat. But this time around, the kind of assuredness that the team has, of course, imposed in him, but also the kind of the way he has repaid that assuredness, that trust in him to come out and play like this.
I think as a batter, he's really evolved, and especially in the last 2-3 years, the kind of performances he's really evolved. And they must have seen that, because when you've dropped Rishabh Pant, one of the things you'd also be thinking about is you can promote Jadeja up the order. That's the only reason you can afford to drop a left-hander like Rishabh Pant, who's such a potent batsman. Because you're saying, okay, if there's a spinner there, I'll just promote Jadeja. And that's what they did today. It paid off. And that's important for India as well, because that it was a gamble, and it's paid off for them. And the moment Nawaz is stuck with the last over, then you think that odds are definitely on India's side. Finally, getting a left-arm spinner to bowl at the end is difficult. And given the fact that no other Pakistani bowler bowled, they couldn't have introduced a new bowler that late. So they sort of gambled, waiting for Jadeja to get out, and they just couldn't slip in that over.
Yeah, that's right. The Indians kind of bamboozled Babar Azam with that move. And of course, because Mohammad Nawaz could not bowl in those middle overs, he had such good rhythm, but he couldn't bowl. That meant that India took the game very deep. But while we are celebrating India, if we look at that batting card, Parthiv, the one thing that you can't look away from, and would you call it a concern or not is my question to you, because you see KL Rahul, Rohit Sharma, Virat Kohli did get a start and yet could not convert it, and we were all talking about perhaps this was the chase, he was setting it up. Will that be a concern for Team India, or will they say it was just one power play and we move on quickly?
No, I think it's going to be just one power play and we move on from here. Obviously, I think, say, Virat Kohli is playing after a while, right?
Yeah,
I mean, he's taken a break, but he looked brilliant, he looked right. Okay, he did get that chance early on, but that when you are out of form, when there's no runs, you can get away with it, right? I mean, someone will, on a bad day or on a good day, someone will take a blinder, but that's fine. And I thought, he looked good. He looked in good rhythm after hitting a boundary. We saw, vintage Kohli where he'll take a single and rotate it, strike. Yes, KL got out on the first ball. If someone gets out on the first ball, you can't do anything about it, right? And then obviously Rohit Sharma, he looked initially, I don't think as an opener, when you don't get to face too many balls in first 6 overs, which was obviously you got to give that credit to Pakistani fast bowlers as well. The kind of length they were hitting, it was difficult to rotate, strike. But Virat was batting well. He was hitting boundaries and stuff. Rohit was not getting those strikes, but that can always that can happen in a T20 format. But yeah, when it's too early in a tournament to just say it's a concern. It's just a game, one game. Yeah. And then I remember the first time this whole batting lineup is batting together. So I mean, you don't make changes dependent on just one game.
That is true, Joy, because I mean, the way I think the positive that India can perhaps derive from that is the fact that Virat got to spend time there in the middle, and he did look scratchy initially, but by the time his innings, of course, came to an end, he did seem like in a good, decent rhythm there.
This is the problem is that none of those three are in form. Okay, that doesn't mean you can't play them. If there's any tournament in which you can afford to play them, again we discussed the format.
Yeah.
Okay, you have Hong Kong in the next match, then you have Super 4 matches. So you have lots of matches. So if there's any tournament in which you can play yourself into form, this is the tournament. So these three are going to be given plenty of chances. Virat has got some time in the middle. Rohit will say next time, 1 or 2 matches, get some time in the middle, get 1 or 2. Rohit is a class batsman. He's an absolute class batsman. So My only thing, and that's the only thing I was thinking about it, is I genuinely feel that if you look at those three, I can't see all three going to Australia. And obviously, if I don't, I mean, right now, Rahul, of course, he got out early. And as he said, one ball out, it's easy to take. But there's so many really talented hitters out there. You know, today you're chasing 148, it's okay. And, you know, Hardik Pandya is playing out of his skin right now. You know, he's giving you so much. You can't expect him to keep you there, all that. And, you know, so that's the only thing I think that somewhere that experience in the top order, all three of them, is something we need to think about. I think they'll play entirely through this tournament, and maybe they'll just prove us wrong. You know, somebody Rahul will blast 140 balls in the next match and it's all over. But yeah, that's the only concern I have, that three people can't be tentative about finding form. I think three people are searching for form together. And normally what happens is you carry one or two guys, okay, you're not in form now, you'll play yourself in. It's three. So that's a bit of a thought.
That's a very interesting insight, Parthiv. Do you agree with that? Because he's right. I mean, if three of your top batters, the top order, are all searching for form together, that can be a concern, because that also contradicts the kind of approach that Team India is trying to
do. It all depends on, you know, how many games you've played. See, if you see Rohit Sharma batting, I mean, today you can see he was struggling a bit to get runs. But in West Indies, he looked fine. He did not get a big runs, but he looked fine. Rahul has not played games. Virat Kohli has not played games either. So I think that's where, you know, I agree with them. I think the best way to go about is to give them the full tournament, and I have no doubts about it. I think once you give them 4 or 5 games, these are very, very high quality batters. I think if you give them 5 opportunities, I'm sure, you know, they will get those runs. And the biggest plus for me today is, you know, Virat Kohli being able to spend time in the middle. Sometimes it's not just about runs. It's sometimes all the time. It's about, you know, spending time, even if it's scratchy.
Also at this kind of a stage and in this kind of an atmosphere.
Yeah, that's what players strive for, right? You want to be there on the ground. You want to spend time. He batted till 11th over, 10th over, and that's exactly what he wanted. Virat Kohli, if you look at the scorecard from both the sides, everyone has struggled. Except Hardik Pandya, everyone's strike rate has been under 115, 120. If you look at that Ravindra Jadeja, we are saying he's batted brilliantly, which he did. That also 35 of 29 balls. That Surya Kumar Yadav's is 18 of 18. Rohit Sharma is 18 of 12. So, and Virat Kohli is 34 of 35 is like a gold, because, you know, Pakistani bowlers were bowling really well then. You know, it was a good spell which they were going on. And I thought, you know, spending time in the middle gives you that confidence, especially when you've come out of the break.
Yeah, correct. But you've got to give it to Pakistan's bowlers as well, especially the way they started. So if we look at that analysis, of course, they've lost the game. But the way they started, defending 148, Naseem Shah, on his debut, the way he bowled that first over, was stuff of dreams.
Absolutely brilliant. And they'll be looking and saying that when Shaheen Shah Afridi comes back, this bowling attack will look really, really good. The other thing was, I thought they used their conditions well. Parthiv said something before the match, and that's a very interesting thing. He said, look at this team. This is not a 180 team. This Pakistan team is not a 180 team. It's a 160 team. Had they got 160, this would have been a struggle for India. So it's that team. And now both teams, every team now is looking at the conditions. What have you had so far? You had a match where your team got out for about 100 odd, okay? And then it got chased down. Then you've got another match where 147. So everyone now will look at this tournament, look at the pitches and say, okay, let me recalibrate. These are not 180, 200 wickets. Okay, let's try and look at how we're going to play in these conditions. Pakistan anyway plays mostly in these parts of the world. So they are anyway a 160 team. And had they got that 160, had India not taken that many wickets, we could have struggled today, you know.
Here, I think it's, again, I think where Pakistan struggled to defend is where Pakistan didn't take wickets. If they had taken wickets, it's all about, in T20 format, it's all about taking wickets. It's all about keeping that attacking mindset. You cannot defend. It's as simple as that. If someone plays 20 overs and just loses 5 wickets, 150, you cannot defend. There's only one way Pakistan could have won this game, was by taking wickets. Then here, if you look at the comparisons of score also, if you look at India's main last 5 overs, Pakistan could score only 44 because they had lost 5 wickets. And India lost only 1 wicket. Even in the middle phase where 11 to 15, India lost only 1 wicket, Pakistan lost 3 wickets. So that's when you lost that momentum. Though run rate is same, but it covered up in the last 5 overs. Towards the end. So wickets are important. I mean, bowlers will win you games, and wickets will win you games. It's not just, you know, you cannot defend unless it is a 220 target. You go on a defensive mindset or a 200. But if you have 150 on board, you can only win by taking wickets.
You're so right. Bowlers win you games. And in Naseem Shah, Pakistan have that bowler. What is PPPD's rating of Naseem Shah's bowling today on his T20I debut? We saw he was struggling with cramps. He yet completed that over and it was a decent over. Towards the end, there was an LBW scare as well against Ravindra Jadeja. How did you rate his bowling?
I thought it was really good, and that's something which spoke about, in swingers initial on, it wasn't Shine Shah Afridi lefty, it was righty in swinger. But I thought he was hitting the lines really well. And to me, the biggest plus, if you look at the characters of the player. And Naseem Shah's character, which was shown in the last over where he was struggling. I know cramps is very, very difficult. You cannot control it. And if it comes, you're gone already. And then to finish off that over with the run-up, it was credit to him. As though he got hit for a 6 on the 5th ball of this 4th over. I think it was cramp had a lot to do, where he could not give everything. Otherwise, he was giving it. But yeah, obviously, he has future. And I mean, to me, Pakistan has to play more T20Is. You cannot just play one T20I in Pakistan.
They've taken your advice. They're playing 7 against England now.
They have to play more just to get that thing. They have to play more T20Is to just try and see what kind of team they want before the World Cup starts.
But that kid has got something, Joy. I mean, the way he bowled, we've seen him in tests, but the way he bowled here with that white ball, with the kind of intensity at this stage, shows he's got
absolutely.
something.
And not only that, he didn't allow. I mean, that's exactly that one ball he couldn't put the effort, and wily customer like Ravindra Jadeja lined him up and decided to go straight because he just knew that he hadn't the strength to go short at him because he was struggling. So he just knew that he could go forward and take the ball where it was. But that's what I'm saying. And even in those conditions to appeal, if you see 3 Pakistan players went down with cramp, you've had Rizwan first go down with cramp, then you had Haris Rauf go down. So they've struggled with I've struggled with their fitness, which is something that, they'll be also looking at it, wondering. I mean, cramp does happen, but 3 players going down at the same time is interesting. And so they'd probably be thinking that, something in their routine also they need to think about that. Maybe they need to be a little bit more prepared. Who knows?
Correct.
And I can understand if you're an all-rounder and you've spent time in the middle. I can understand Rizwan getting camps if he has batted. He batted almost for 14-15 over, and the way he was appealing, so it was just doing it was more jumping on. So I can understand him getting cramps. But just bowlers, I thought it was slightly difficult to understand. But having said that, I love the rule that
you get that extra fielder in,
because I've been saying for quite a long time, yes, financial penalties does hurt, but more than that, I think it doesn't hurt as much as you lose the game.
Yeah, of course.
Which I thought Pakistan, was in the game, and that 5th fielder inside, that means you either had to at fine leg in and mid-off in or mid-on in. So, you could easily line up. The reason why in one-day cricket you see a lot of runs because of that extra 5th fielder inside.
Correct.
And here, as it is, bowlers are looking for 4-5 fielders outside, and now you have 5 inside, only 4 outside. It is difficult, and obviously, yes, heat is a factor, but there is no excuse for not bowling, finishing it the time which has been given in 17th over. You have to bowl 3 overs. That means you probably bowled 6 in the power play and bowled 3 in the end. That's something which, obviously all the teams will have to take care of it while chasing, especially in conditions. Yes, these are difficult conditions, but you have to take care of this. And, as much as it's hurting the game, I think, that's when the timing will come into play.
That is so true. Let me give a context to all our viewers. Of course, towards the end of India's innings, at around the 17th over mark, Pakistan had to pull another fielder inside the 30-yard circle per the new rules, which say if you don't complete the overs within the stipulated time, you have to bring one fielder in. And what Parthiv is saying is so true, because until this point, you only had financial penalties, and let's be real, they don't hurt. They don't hurt these big bodies.
It hurts everywhere. But it hurts.
It's pocket change for all of them.
It's not pocket. Yeah. It's not pocket money. But I think the biggest thing is, it's like winning the game.
Yeah,
if it's affecting the result of the game, only then players will push it.
So at one time it used to hurt the captains because captains used to get dropped for slow over it and all that. But I think this is the best rule because it's within the game. Yeah. The only thing is it means that the umpires, match referees have to be far more aware of what's happening. Because, player has cramp. How are you treating the cramp? Is it happening out there? There's an injury or reviews. So they're watching for a lot of things. I think they need to be more active and more very, very proactive because they're calling it literally over by over.
Correct.
And typically during a match, it is generally the umpire's job to tell them if they're over or not.
That's what usually umpires do.
They keep telling you. So it's not as if you have any excuse. They're telling you how much you're off. And if they are not, your team should be telling you as well,
No, I think the umpires does.
No,
I
the
think every
umpires do
second or third over they come and tell you
They'll
you're
be
2
telling you
overs
what
down,
they're-
1 over down or whatever. But yeah, I mean...
So there's enough chance to make up. So it's not as if
Correct.
the
So you're
captain's
aware.
unaware.
It's not like it's all of a sudden that you have to bring one fielder in.
Suddenly you'll see a clock,
you're being continually told.
Yeah, and it's not that you suddenly see a clock and say, oh, we're 3 overs behind. It's like Pakistan was today. And that was even after giving injury time. It's like, what, 4.5 hours in a T20 game.
It's inexcusable. It is inexcusable. But I mean, when you get a game like this, the fans aren't really complaining, but what they're saying is correct. You can't take that long to complete a T20 game. How does this change the points table, though? I mean, we saw one game, the opener of the Asia Cup yesterday. Today, India get those 2 points. Of course, Hong Kong is the third team in this group. India will have their next encounter against Hong Kong. I mean, the entries from this to the Super 4 seem pretty clear. No disrespect to Hong Kong, but India and Pakistan perhaps will go to the Super 4s, and we will see one more of these encounters. At least one more.
At least one more. Definitely at least one more. And look, this tournament was designed in a way to see at least 2 India-Pakistan matches, perhaps 3. That was the whole idea of the way. Otherwise, for 6 teams to come down to 4 teams and all, and now that's what everyone does. So I remember at one time when they used to have World Cup draws, they used to do it in a way that India and Pakistan don't meet early. Now the whole idea is to make sure that they meet in the group stage so that definitely there'll be at least one India-Pakistan game. Because that is really ruining world cricket. I mean, the India-Pakistan matches today also, I think, you had record viewerships because that is still the single most important occasion in world cricket. So, and one great thing, after 2013, this is the first India-Pakistan match that has gone to a last over. Which means we've had, blowouts on each side. Finally, we've had an India-Pakistan encounter worth talking about after almost 9 years. So it's something to celebrate. And of course, we landed on the right side, which is even better news.
It was worthy of an India-Pakistan game on a Sunday, isn't it? That's what we all were waiting for, and especially rightly put, you want to be on the right side of the result, which is the most important thing. And the way Indian team is playing, more often than not, we will see that India, ends up in the right side of the result because the way Indian team is playing, the approach is right. Everything is going the way they want to go before the World Cup starts. So I think, India-Pakistan games are. Everyone says that it's, players try and say it's just another game, but it's definitely not just another. It's a chance for players to become heroes. I mean, when you score runs or when you win games for an Indian team against Pakistan, I mean, it's completely different recognition than anything else.
Yeah, and you still think about it. I mean, our fellow commentator in Cricbuzz, Jadeja, he's still remembered for that 40 of 21.
Absolutely.
You will remember Sidhu's 93. You remember Rishikesh Kanetkar finishing a match. You remember Javed Miadad on the other side also, sadly. So you remember Venkatesh Prasad. So heroes, if you want to become a hero, this is your stage. You just added one more name to that list, and that's, of course, Hardik Pandya.
Absolutely.
Today, you've added that name to the list.
Yes, the world is watching this, and if you shine here, you do become a superstar. India have the bragging rights from this first encounter. India and Pakistan will play again at least once in this Asia Cup, perhaps this coming Sunday. But that's all from this game. Now to the next game, which won't happen on Monday. It'll happen on Tuesday. Bangladesh take on Afghanistan in the third match. Group B's second match, of course, in Sharjah. So now Afghanistan, with the kind of win that they're coming from, they will take a lot of confidence, Parthiv. The way they beat Sri Lanka in that first game, they vanquished them. They will, and especially on a Sharjah wicket where it turns, and they're full of spinners. So Bangladesh is also full of spinners, but I think if you look at the quality of Rashid Khan, Mohammad Nabi, Mujib, I think Afghanistan, to me, I think one of the most dangerous side of this tournament. You wouldn't want to take them lightly. They've got a batter who bats fearlessly in Gurbaz. I think the way he batted, or Azatullah Zazai, the left-hander, he's got 100 in one international cricket or even T20. A lefty as an opener is always dangerous. So I'm not talking about anyone else, but a lefty as an opener is definitely a good boost for them. But the approach which is they are playing, and when we saw that game against Sri Lanka, they were just enjoying. They just wanted to be there on the ground, just enjoying the moment, taking off the big stage. And when you're enjoying the game, more often than not, you can become a very, very dangerous side. And this Afghanistani players, a lot of them are now actually play a lot of league cricket all over the world.
Around the world,
So and they're superstars there.
They're superstars there. I mean, so basically, Afghanistan will definitely be dangerous side. And Bangladesh, remember, coming out of a lose in Zimbabwe.
Yeah, correct. ODIs and T20Is, both.
T20s,
Yeah.
both.
Yeah.
So it's not going to be easy game for Bangladesh. I'm actually rooting for Afghanistan to win that game.
Why not? The fashion that they play their cricket in, and as PPPedia correctly mentioned, the way they enjoy their cricket, you really want to root for them. If you have a look at the points table as well, Joy, the one thing that big a win in the first game has done is almost guaranteed them a qualification to the Super.
Absolutely. So I think they'll be happy to beat Bangladesh. And the people who will be rooting for them to beat Bangladesh is actually Sri Lanka.
Sri Lanka,
Sri Lanka will be rooting for them to beat Bangladesh and then go back to that final encounter. But that's exactly it. I think they are on their way through. They are looking, unless something really dramatic happens, they're on their way through. And I think it's good for world cricket. To have 3 more matches in the next stage for them will be fantastic. As I said, they've had a fantastic record against the Minnows. They had a 15-game winning streak in T20 cricket, which is still unrivaled, but it's also because they were playing against smaller countries. They're up against the big countries. They'd only beaten Bangladesh before that. Now they come and they beat, Sri
Lanka, and then meet Bangladesh again.
Now meet Bangladesh, and the only people they've beaten so often is Bangladesh. So hey, they wouldn't mind this at all.
There was a tie game in last Asia Cup, wasn't it? Against India.
Against India,
Against India. So, but they are the team on the rise. You can see, especially when you see a lot of players playing around the world. When you get picked for a side where there's a limited slot, and that's when if you're getting picked to play in that limited slot, it actually is a testimony of how they.
Correct. As a foreign player, if you get picked, it shows that you're a big boy.
Correct. They know what the big stage feels like, and they've performed at the big stage. And here in the Asia Cup, they seem like determined to make a mark. But there's another team, of course, Bangladesh is playing, and Bangladesh has been through a topsy-turvy time. Parthiv, as you said, they lost in Zimbabwe. They've not had the best of times. There's been a shift in leadership as well. Now Shakib will lead them here, and perhaps in the T20 World Cup as well. They have a point to prove as well, and perhaps a bigger one.
They have a bigger one to prove. I think they come across as a reputed side. They are the full-fledged test-playing nation.
Correct.
And if you're getting the way things are happening there, you want to go out there. There's only one way you can actually give answer is by winning games. You might as well, you want to say whatever you want to talk about. Okay, after losing to Zimbabwe, they felt embarrassed and all of that. But those talking points can happen. But if you want to give answers, there's only one way you can do it is by winning games. And that's what Bangladesh will have to do it, and they'll have to start doing it from day after tomorrow. They cannot wait more. They have, because as you rightly put it, they don't have their head coach now. Sharma has been drafted in as their interim coach, right?
Okay.
But they don't have a head
consultant.
Coach.
He's a consultant.
So but they obviously are looking for options because they're not sure. They go back and come. They drop Shakib, and then they make a comeback. He comes back as a captain. So obviously they're a team with a lot of questions, and there's only one way they can answer it, by winning games.
Yeah, if we take a look at that squad again, Joy, the one thing that this Bangladesh team and Bangladesh teams in recent times have done is when their backs are against the wall, they really come out swinging sometimes. And under Shakib's leadership, can you expect that from them? Because there are a few names returning here as well. Of course, there's Shakib, then there's Sabir Rahman as well, who makes a comeback after a while.
Yeah, no, this is not a bad. If you look at it in paper, Mushfiqur is there. You've got Mahmudullah is there. Shakib is there. You've got the side, and Mustafizur is close to being the bowler he was in 2016 when he was absolutely fantastic. He's not still there, but he's close. So I'm saying this is a very decent Bangladesh side. They've had, I think, more than form. They've also had, Bangladesh. Cricket politics has all been very emotional. So there's today he's a captain, tomorrow he's a captain. Somebody's changed, some ad has happened, nobody likes it, so suddenly the captaincy is removed. I think they need stability there. And Shakib is a smart player. I've seen him for many years, and he knows his way around. What has to be done. So the good thing is that this Bangladesh team will play smart cricket. Now whether they end up winning or not, I don't know, because I think Afghanistan is more of a high, but these are very veteran players. Remember, Shakib and all have been playing from 2007. They know what to do to get their team across the line. And in pitches like Sharjah, where Shakib again will be a very wily bowler to bowl out there, while you have 3 great spinners from their side, Shakib will be quite a handful in conditions like this.
I think that's the key. I think spinner is going to play a big role because we don't know what to expect from Sharjah. Usually it's either a 200 pitch or a 120 pitch. So basically, from Bangladesh point of view, I think they are in a catch-22 situation here, because if they are hoping for a turners, which you get in Dhaka or Mirpur, but then you're facing Rashid, Mohammad Nabi and Mujib. So yeah, that they basically would want to have a flat wicket where if they can chase 200 or something.
Yeah, but the worry with Bangladesh's batters will also be that none of their batters in this squad have a strike rate of in excess of 125 in the format, and that's going to be a worry against the bowlers who've dismissed Sri Lanka for 100 something, and that shows you the kind of quality that Afghanistan are bringing to the table. This is going to be an interesting encounter for which, of course, we'll be here on Cricbuzz Live with you on Tuesday. But now to the most important part of the evening, the joy factor question, which PPpedia cracked right there at the moment, quicker than all of you. But first, let's have a look at the question. Joy.
Yeah, the question was, in which cricketer scored 2 centuries within a month against the same team, but none of the venues were in his country or the nation he played. So both were in neutral venues and both in 2 different countries.
Yeah, and the answer is?
The answer is Ricky Ponting.
Woo!
Absolutely.
Dalia.
I actually did not crack the joy factor answer, but I think...
I mean, you were close.
I asked him
hint.
the name, but I was close with the Colombo.
No, absolutely. Yeah. I think the important thing was that you knew that Pakistan series getting cancelled at home.
Yeah.
Everyone thinks all the matches moved to Sharjah. I think where Parthiv picked up absolutely was the fact that there was one in Colombo and one in Sharjah. And then it's a matter of saying which top order batsman.
So you cracked everything. ये तो जो आखिरी में नाम था Ricky Ponting, that was to say कि thermodynamics का definition बताओ तो this is called thermodynamics. तो सिर्फ उतना ही बाकी रह गया.
नहीं, उतना वो thermodynamics तो पूछता नहीं आता. क्रिकेट का ही आता था. नहीं आता. The only thing which I know is cricket. So that is probably और कुछ किया ही नहीं ना.
Same. आप तो इंडिया खेले, मैंने तो सच में कुछ नहीं किया, मैंने सिर्फ क्रिकेट देखा है लाइव पर. But मजा आता है उसमें भी भाई, आपको भी तो मजा आता है कि नहीं आता?
English show.
Of course.
English show.
It is English show? It is past midnight, right? Yeah. So we're allowed. 2 sentences we are allowed. No, as I said right at the beginning of the show that my English is over. Joy said, please take over. Yeah. He didn't take over. He said, I'll take over in the...
As I was saying, I know only 20 words. I just try and work around those 20 words.
Mine are over. Before all of them are over, of course, let's have a look at the winner of the Joy Factor. And it is not PPpedia today. It is Sharat Sethi, regular.
Oh, Sharat Sethi is regular name. Yeah. He's cracking quite a few.
Today, I think Sharat also had a lot of help from you. Not that
he would have got help from you. Absolutely.
Yeah, major hint today, but it was that kind of a day. It was a very happy day for all Indian fans. India won against Pakistan. Of course, there will be more of these India-Pakistan encounters, at least one, for which, of course, we'll be back here. But that's all the time that we have today on Cricbuzz Live. Thank you, Mr. Joy B. Thank you, Mr. PPpedia. It was such good fun with you guys. It was such good fun bringing all the coverage to all of you. Thank you for tuning in. My name is Tanay Tiwari. You were watching Cricbuzz Live. We'll see you all very soon.